right, guys, welcome back to a brand new episode. Oh, I'm so excited for this one because she's like our first guest from Singapore. And if this is your first time hearing her name, I promise you this won't be your last because you're going to fall in love not just with her personality, but her voice. Hello.
Oh my gosh, Maggie. You're selling me like, no one's ever sold me like that before. Really? I love that.
I try to be subtle. I don't want to make you too uncomfortable, but hi, Naomi.
Hi. Can you be my copywriter?
Bella, hello. Invoice her, please, later.
Just like, wow.
Okay, so welcome to KL.
I love it already.
I know, right?
Because we were talking about it offline and
I
I haven't been here in the longest time.
8 years.
8 years. I want to say it's been 8, but I think in reality it's about 6-ish.
8.
But it's long enough.
Yes.
But yeah, I miss it. I miss it so much.
Why so long? Why do you never make your way to KL ever? Like in between?
That's a good question. Actually, it's funny because we're so close to each other.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, right? When you work hard and you want to explore different places and everything, like you want to go as that's my
no, I'm like
how
you.
I think, like, oh my gosh, I want to go this there, like furthest away from, you know, wherever my country is, and then just try and explore it and almost like having a new identity.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why I didn't really think twice about it. But this time when I came here, it just felt so natural, you know? It's like, wow, I feel like I'm at home. Like I would love to stay here for a couple more days.
Please extend. I mean, my home is open for you. You can sleep with me. I don't have extra room.
would. Oh my gosh, I'll take you up on that. Do you say no restroom?
Extra room. Because the extra bedroom is now...
It's like thinking twice about the restroom.
I have 2 restrooms, but I don't have extra bedroom because it's now a storeroom for the past 6 months. I just moved in. I haven't figured it out yet. Yeah. But yes, okay, I think we have to... I need to say and share how this podcast came about. Honestly, we just met, girl. We are new friends. Like I don't think we know each other too well just yet.
I think it was last week that we met, no?
Exactly. Maybe we can rewind to our first time ever meeting each other. Do you remember?
It happened way too fast.
Okay, let me remind you. I think because you were working. Yeah, you were hosting the SK2 event.
Oh my gosh,
I forgot what mall that was in Orchard. I was waiting for Sandra.
That's right.
I was in Singapore at the time and for a work trip as well. And Sandra offered to send me to the airport. But she says, but I have an event first. Can you chill somewhere first? I'm like, okay, I will wait for you.
That's right.
And when she was done, that's how I met you then. But you were working. You were hosting.
Yeah, I was hosting it.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That's how it came about.
And very, very briefly, like our conversation didn't even last for 5 minutes. And we had to go. And then we followed each other on Instagram and then started following you. And then I'm like, I like this girl. You know, I like her. So when I went to Singapore a week ago, I called her out. And you came out. Thanks for making time.
You know what's funny?
Yeah.
Is that I think, you know, your phone, like it's always listening, right?
Yes.
Like Siri is always listening.
Yeah.
I think the first time we met at that event with Sandra, then maybe because, you know, it caught on to like, oh, hi, I'm Maggie, or like, hi, I'm Naomi. After that, on my Instagram feed and everything, like you started popping up.
No way. That's creepy.
So I felt like when we met the next time, which was last week, I felt like I kind of knew, you know, a little bit about who you were and everything. And I hope it's not a bit stalkerish that I'm saying that. But I like really enjoy the things that I'm seeing, like, and what you're putting out. It makes me feel like connected to you, you know?
Yeah.
And perhaps that's really, it's a true gift.
Thank you. Now, I feel like there's also a lot of similarities in what we do. But before we get to that, though, I do want to get to know you first, Naomi.
Ooh.
Could we go back in time a little?
I feel like this is a blind date.
I know, right? Better than a blind date, I promise you. Okay? I do this with some of my guests from time to time, like, because so much of who we are today has so much to do with who we were when we were a kid, in our childhood, growing up. So tell me, let's rewind a little. Who is Naomi? Like, go back in time. You can pick a timeline.
I don't know why I sighed. I think maybe because, like, I'm still figuring it out. Like, I'm still figuring out who Naomi is.
Okay.
But I think the young Naomi already knew what she wanted to do. And I think that was something very noticeable since, you know, or from the time that I wanted to move into this industry. I wanted to be an actress like at 12.
No way.
And I remembered watching, I think Ba Ping Dao or something.
Channel 8.
Yeah, and I don't know if you know this actor called Elvin Ng. Elvin Ng?
Elvin?
I think, yes.
Yes.
He's very famous for the toothpaste ad.
I think I've seen
him. His teeth was like white as snow and he just looked so perfect. So I was watching one of his shows and I thought to myself like, oh, okay, how does it work? Like, as in, are they real? Like, is this who he really is? So I got drawn to that whole narrative, right? And I started getting curious. So I joined the drama club in primary school. And then in secondary school, I also joined the drama club. I took my studies really seriously because I knew where I wanted to go after, you know, secondary school, after taking my O-levels. So when that happened and I got into like the school of my dreams, I thought to myself like, okay, what's next? And I guess what I'm trying to say is I've been working so hard in terms of studies for the longest time that I identified, you know, and I related to that. And I didn't really think about anything else, like what I liked, what I didn't like, my own opinions about things. And I was so fearful of making mistakes. And I think it also didn't help that maybe my parents gave me a little too much like freedom to like think about all these things. But I thank them now because I have, you know, a stance on things at least now.
Yeah.
But growing up, that was a bit of a challenge. I had a bit of a meltdown thinking about what I was going to do after, but I still knew that this was the industry that I wanted to get into. So I think bit by bit, as I made the decision to not go to uni and then just kind of dive right into the industry, that's when I really started to put in the work.
Right.
And like, if you ask me who I am right now, I guess the short answer is I'm still figuring out, but that's the long answer is that I will always know what I want, and I will always know where my boundaries are. I think I just need to expand and keep an open mind.
I love that.
Yeah.
I caught on to something you said earlier. You skipped uni and went straight into it. How was that like, making that decision? Because you know how we are growing up in an Asian community, like you have to follow the milestone that's been set for you. You know, like how did your parents take it? Like how do you convince them like, Mom, I'm not going to go to uni and I'm going to do this. You got to trust me on it.
To be fair.
Yeah.
And actually I had this conversation with my friends last night. I had dinner last night. Someone asked me, what about you? Did you like growing up in Singapore? And I mean, typically because, you know, I'm native to Singapore, so I don't really get asked that question.
Right.
But when someone asked me, I thought about it for a minute and I was like, I did not like growing up in Singapore, but now as an adult, I love it. I love living in Singapore. I love being in Singapore. I think it gave me so many opportunities and you know, it came with the security, stability, and everything in between, you know, family and friendships and love.
For sure.
But growing up, having these conversations, I think we were still kind of in between spaces. Like my friends wanted to talk about it. We met people along the way that were open to talking about it. And then you have, you know, your parents and your relatives that are slightly older and, you know, bless them. They're always trying to do the best and they're always trying to give us what they couldn't have in the past. But that creates a rift, right? Because they don't understand even though they try.
For sure.
So when I had that conversation with my parents, I think they kind of freaked out a little bit because at that point they had saved up money on their end to put me and my brother in university. And it's a big deal for them. You know, saving up 5 figures is a big deal for them. Like, I don't even think they had that growing up.
Yeah.
So I think they were a bit taken aback that, you know, someone as studious, and I was really as studious as I could be.
Yeah.
I think they were a bit taken aback by my decision. But by then I had already backpacked. You know, I had kind of lived abroad for a little bit overseas, and I knew why I didn't want to go to uni. And when I explained that to them, I think my dad was actually really lovely. He said, you know, it's okay. Like, I think it's fine. I think you're on your own way. You need to, he understood that I needed to find something else to do, and that university is not a means to an end.
Yeah.
So he understood the concept of, you know, a person having the ability to create opportunities for themselves. Mm-hmm. And this is someone that barely had an education. Like, I don't even think he had a PSLE cert to begin with. And he grew up fairly poor. Mm-hmm. So my mom, on the other hand, was more well-to-do. And I think she was of two minds about it, but she still respected it in the end.
Yeah.
So I think I'm very blessed to have parents that were also looking inward and asking themselves like, oh, you know, is what I'm going to say like going to affect my child? And they might not have the language for it, but it really permeated with everything else that they did. And I think as an adult now, I really love them for it. I knew that it was a very hard thing for them to hold back and to let go and to say, you know, our child knows what she's doing. She's always been strong-willed. Mm-hmm. Let's just give it a go. Yeah.
I love that so much. My heart is just like beaming with so much joy listening to that story. Of course, it's not the norm, unfortunately, in a lot of Asian households.
I understand
at least
that,
not for me, you know, like, you know.
What was it like for you actually?
I think my mom never really had an expectation. I come from a broken family, so my mom was the breadwinner of the family. She never really had much of an opinion, but she just knew that I had to go to school. I did have thoughts about not wanting to go into science stream because I'm not sure how it is in Singapore, but like in Malaysia, our education system is in such that the more studious, the more smarter kids would go to science stream, and the art stream is for the not so smart kids. And I actually always I was quite drawn to like art school, like mass communication and all that stuff, which I ended up doing in uni anyway. But that was not what my mom was like. No, why? Go to science, go to science. So I actually did science all the way up till pre-university. Yeah, and I'm like, no, this is not what I want to do. And even up till then, my mom was... Sorry?
You hung on.
I hung on, and I felt like it was at a crossroad where I had to decide law school, medical school, or something else.
Damn standard.
Correct. Standard route. Okay, I am telling you right now. But I just couldn't take it anymore. And I told my mom that, Mom, I'm going to do whatever I want from here, okay? You got to trust me. And she was okay with it, thank goodness. But I know at the back of her head, she's like, she's going to be okay. And I guess my mom is also not very educated. So we never really have much conversations like what you have with your parents. So I was kind of like navigating my own boat very blindly in the sea of everything, you know? So yeah, I think growing up for me was very different. So it's so nice to hear that people can have what you have.
I mean, my parents weren't really good at communicating. So it was peppered with a lot of like pent-up tension and unsaid things.
Passive-aggressive.
I think it's really also in the Asian culture.
Yeah.
They didn't know how to express it.
Yeah.
So I think it took a while for them to eventually settle down. But it's not all roses and everything, but I still appreciate them for what they did. Like, they tried to give me everything.
And I'm sure they did, right? And are you the only child in your family?
No, I have a younger brother.
Okay. So, of course, like you knew that you wanted to be an actress at 12 years old, okay?
And then like, I just tried everything.
And you tried everything. So
now
guys,
I'm not like...
I'm going to hype you up again one more time. This girl, she can host, obviously. She was also a radio DJ. She acts. She sings. She's also a voice-over talent actress. Is there anything you cannot do? Like which one was your first love? Acting?
Yeah, I would say acting is my first love. But then when I went to poly,
Poly means
when I went to get a diploma.
Oh, okay.
In mass comm.
Yeah.
I realized, actually, there's so much that you can do in this industry.
Yeah.
And in Singapore, it's a very small, market nonetheless.
Yes.
I mean, if you compare us to the other parts of Southeast Asia or APAC, we really are just a tiny dot, right? But it opened my mind to, maybe I could just try and see how it goes, like when I'm holding conversations like in front of the camera and just exploring,
So you found out about everything else during your not uni time. Diploma time.
Yeah.
Diploma time. Would you call it poly? Poly.
Yes. Excuse me, I just burped.
No worries.
Oh, that was sambal chili. Sorry.
I love it. She had Village Park nasi lemak. So I'm supposed to bring you after. But
we can go
already,
again.
Are you sure? No, no. Ryan said.
Yeah.
No. Anyway, let's not get distracted with that. Yeah. Let's come back to our conversation. It happens all the time. Oh my God, I forgot. I have short-term memory.
My diploma, trying everything.
Yeah. So was that when you discovered? And I'm so sure it's hard because I'm like you too. Like I knew I wanted to do it, but I didn't know how to do it. Sure, I see that person on TV, but how the hell do I get there? Like, where's the TV station? Who's the person do I talk to? How do I go for auditions?
Exactly.
What was your starting point?
Here's the thing, right? I don't know what it's like in Malaysia, but in Singapore, I felt like it was very hard to find a mentor. It felt like I was really all alone when I made the decision to. And I can't speak for other people. I can only speak from my own experiences. For me, it was almost as if when I made the decision to be a part of this industry, no matter what it looked like, I felt so alone. I wanted to ask, people in the industry for some advice, some help, but there's always this level of comfort that you can only go, and you can only go so far with that, They have their own boundaries and I wouldn't even put competition into the mix or comparing into the mix. I suppose it's just this idea where I need to maybe look out for myself first, then maybe I can give back.
Yeah.
So I felt so alone because just like you, perhaps in pockets of, these spaces, you would feel, okay, what do I do next? Like, I just hosted my very first event. How did I make people feel? Where can I get proper feedback? Like, will clients ever hire me again? Like, what's good? What am I good at?
Yeah.
How can I improve? So all these questions are like rushing through your mind. And it will take you a while before you get your next job, that's how it usually goes if you don't really know where to look for support. So it was like that for me for the longest time. And I think it's this mind that I had to get into, this space that I had to get into to know that, okay, it's not so much about rushing into it. It's about being wise about your choices and just being thankful that you're getting a job every step of the way.
Yeah.
And then planning your trajectory. People ask me also, they send me DMs and ask me I really want to hone my voiceover skills now, for example, or, where can I go to learn more, or so that, I can kind of meet you where you're at and do these voiceovers like you. And to be fair, or to be honest, I haven't really answered them because I don't really know how to answer. Yeah. How do I tell a stranger, as much as I want to help them, how do I tell a stranger that, hey, it's gonna, to be honest, my journey was pretty lonely. How can I help you? I want you to have your own unique journey as well. But I can't step in and tell you what to do. Yeah. And then I understood why, I met with a little bit of resistance at the start. I think now that I'm unpacking this with you, and I feel it's very healing.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, I feel it's very healing because I don't want to ever come across like I'm someone that's unhelpful.
Yeah.
Or someone that doesn't want to value add to this industry, because we need to have young blood. We need to have new blood.
sure.
We need to have people come in to really inject some life into the industry and maybe give a new perspective where we aren't able to provide.
For sure.
And I get that, and I want to be there for that. But if you're gonna, if how do I start? Like that's a new challenge that I have to unlock, right?
Yeah.
And that's gonna be a whole other topic to dive into.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
But now that I have a little bit more experience, I can be more vulnerable with this because at some point you just never feel like it's enough.
It's true. I mean, it's not easy because like you are still figuring it out. So you can't exactly give them a manual. Here's what you do. Step A, go here. Step B, because it may not actually work for you. And then you don't want to take that responsibility of, you know.
Yeah, exactly
I think it's a big burden. I mean, I get asked a lot too. Sometimes I don't know how to answer.
Oh my gosh, please tell me if you have any...
But I guess sometimes I
give
will
me some
tell them
advice.
as it is. Exactly what you've said to me. Like, you don't know how to tell. You don't know because everybody's journey is going to be different. But this is what I did.
How do they respond though?
I think people sometimes, people who seek, just seeking takes a lot of courage for them already. So I think just having something to share, even if it's not exactly an answer they're looking for, maybe it was that voice that they needed. Not exactly an answer. They just needed a voice to guide them, not to bring them somewhere. I don't know. That's how I feel. Because I feel like a lot of the times I feel like I need to give them an answer. I feel like I need to say the right thing, because if I don't say the right thing, then what good am I doing?
Oh my gosh, that's exactly how I feel.
Right. I felt that for the longest time, and only very recently I started embracing not knowing. I'm sorry, I just don't have an answer for you. But
okay,
this is what I feel. I guess take what you need. But here it is. Just take what you need. May not be everything.
Right.
Right. I mean, I feel like, yeah.
I guess I put some pressure on myself to like want to give them an answer.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't react. Maybe I should just...
Yeah, you just share what you feel.
Try and understand what they're trying to say.
Yeah.
There we
go.
Wow.
And of course, like, I think for every guest that come onto my show, on the show, I do a bit of stalking. So I'll clearly stalk you on top of already stalking you every day on Instagram. I mean, not stalking, I mean, seeing your stuff on Instagram. I stumbled upon your website.
Oh,
I used to
updated it in the longest
I
time.
noticed.
I'm sorry to all my clients.
I think it's good enough. Gives me a good gist of who Naomi is. And but I noticed this sentence in your about me. My biggest fear was coming across strange, over the top, proper, too many to count.
Where is that?
I don't know. You wrote it. It's
my about page.
Yeah. And that caught me. Not everything else. Not your achievements. I think those were great. Like, I think but I was so drawn to this line. Like, strange. And I thought, was she strange when I first met her? No, she was so poised, so elegant, eloquent with her words. God, girl, you speak so well. I'm just like, right, guys? Yeah. And over the top, oh my gosh, no. SK2 event, she was just so grounded and like, nothing what you said. So
could you repeat that? What did I say?
Okay, one more time, okay? I love this.
So dangerous, you know? Like someone throwing back your words, I'm like, oh my God.
My biggest fear was coming across strange, over the top, proper, too many to count. Too proper, I think the word was.
Where was I at that stage in life?
Yeah, tell me. I want to know that Naomi too. You feel like you're very strange.
Okay, I think, and because I know I can be a people pleaser.
Oh,
I also know that I love serving. You know, I mean, it does come with the whole complex, like complexity of like people pleasing and everything. I can also come across like as a very aggressive person, but in my head, I'm like passionate about the things that I love. But perhaps to other people, it might come across like
too much.
Okay, she's backing me into a corner. Let's just kind of like see how we can diffuse this tension. But there's no tension. I'm just like passionate, you know. I want you to dance with me, like get into this conversation.
Join
like,
me, not step away.
Yeah. So I remembered when I was very, very young, and you know, children can be brutal.
Yeah.
Someone said that I was way too intense.
A kid told you?
Yeah, like a classmate.
Oh, wow.
And I never forgot that because like I went home really hurt. I'm like confused. I was like, what do you mean by intense? Like, is that in a good way or is that in a bad way? And that kind of messed with me a little bit. And as I started growing up, like I would hear the word intense a lot. And I just, for the life of me, couldn't understand. Like, I guess this would also like answer one of the very first questions just now about who I am.
Yeah.
It was very confusing for me because on one hand, I knew what I wanted, but on the other, I also understood that, hey, people might not understand this level of intensity that I have, like just to throw that word back out.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that in my head is I not only want it, I want to know how to be good at it.
Yeah.
And I knew that when other people were trying to figure out what they wanted to be good at. So already there was this you know,
imbalance
gap.
Yeah.
And I thought for the longest time it was my fault.
Yeah.
Like it was my fault for being too passionate. It was my fault for being, you know, vocal about the things that I want. It was my fault for, you know, saying things like it is. And sometimes I do second guess myself because of that one comment. Like I was just way too intense. Like I'm having a lot of fun here and I could be, you know, really in the moment and just kind of enjoying myself, and I see other people enjoying themselves. And then that could change, you know, when I go back home at night and I'm like, oh, was I way too forward? You know, was I enjoying myself way too much?
What did I say?
What did I say? Like, oh, did I say that? Like, did that come across like snarky? Did that come across like spiteful? So many things. Too many to count.
I understand. Oh, so there we go.
That probably was like my train of thought because confidence did not come naturally to me. It just didn't.
How did you build it then? How did you find that confidence? Because I agree, confidence is not something that I was born with, because I talk about this all the time. And I'm sure doing what we do, we would always have to appear super confident on stage in front of the camera. But the truth is we struggle with finding our own confidence too. So I've shared before how I find mine, but I think we would love to know, like, how do you find yours? And how have you found it, you think?
Confidence comes in waves to me. Like there could be a season where I just feel like, wow, I'm so productive. Like, wow, I could talk to anybody. I feel good in my skin. And then next season in life, it just takes a dip. But what has been consistent for me is learning how to be self-assured and like striking a balance between, okay, today I'm not in a great mood. I don't feel particularly confident. I feel like, wow, the whole world is against me for some reason. I mean, sometimes you could have your own tantrums, right?
Yes, all the time.
But then you have to learn how to say, you know what, Naomi, you're just going to have to do your best, and that will have to be enough for you, as cliche as it sounds. But having this conversation with yourself sometimes can be very confronting. Because you don't want to look bad in front of other people, at least for me. And I don't know how to reconcile the fact that I feel bad, I look bad personally in my head, and I don't know how to work my way around it.
Yeah. I something just came to mind. Have you ever done a job where you felt like you did such a shitty job? How did you manage it? I've been there many times. I couldn't sleep for days after.
Oh my gosh.
But how is it like for you? Because I'm sure we will go through that. Even though we may not, in reality, we could have done actually a pretty decent job.
Are you charging for this therapy session?
Yes, I am.
Are you charging for this? Oh my gosh. My mind just went blank. What were you saying?
Like, how do you get over when you feel like you've done such a bad job? When reality, it's actually not that bad. But it's like in your head, that thing, that bug in your head, how did you get it out?
Oh my gosh.
When it gets intense, that thing gets really intense.
It's really intense. Like it really is intense.
Painful.
The imposter syndrome is real. Like it's so crippling. Crazy. I can't. It's so crippling.
Yeah.
I don't really have the words for it. But if I can piece them together right now, I guess. What was your question again?
Imposter syndrome.
Oh, yeah. What was the other one? You said something else.
That bug in you where you feel like you've done a shitty job.
I think by default, I would always lean into, say, people that I can trust 100% to tell me things as is. I have a very strong support system, even also at work. And these are things that I'm grateful for. However, I also know that there are days where even though they've assured you and also just kind of like said it as a matter of fact, still can't help but feel that. What I am learning to do now, and even today, is to kind of let that feeling pass. To just let these thoughts kind of move through me and understand that I don't have to absorb it. I don't have to take it in.
Like a passing vehicle. Sure, you're here. Okay,
yes.
Go now. Go now.
Yes. Like just accept the fact that it's going to move through you and it's going to be very uncomfortable. There's no easy way out for this. Like you can push your feelings down. You can constantly talk to anybody about how you feel and get assurance from them. You can do all of those things, but you will be wasting your energy. You're completely wasting your energy if you're talking to somebody that you don't trust about something that you are deeply insecure about. And that's a red flag, is when you start to do that. And just understand that this is part of the honoring process. Sometimes I tell myself, you know what, today, if you are in a mood, the least you can do for yourself is to have some respect for yourself and the things that you say and talk about yourself. Yeah.
And would you say your practice with yoga has really helped with that? Because I saw what you posted yesterday. Again, I was stalking.
200%. Yeah. I cannot emphasize how life-changing it is for me. I think I also want to add that, like with yoga, and I've shared about this. I'm trying to find a new perspective to it to kind of like have you walk along this like trip down memory lane with me. When I first started getting into fitness, someone actually recommended me yoga. So it wasn't like, oh, okay, I've done my homework on yoga. I knew nothing about exercise. I just needed an outlet to kind of get fit and to just climb a flight of stairs confidently, you know, to understand what it means to have a beating heart, essentially. And when I did yoga for the very first time, it was actually Hot 26, otherwise known as Bikram yoga. Okay. When I did Hot 26, my very first class, mind you, and I repeat that because it's 90 minutes, you're in an extremely hot room. It's close to like 40 degrees, also pushing more than that. I had no idea what it was in for. I got into class and within 20 minutes I stepped out and I puked my lunch.
No way.
It was terrible. Yeah. Like I was in the toilet crying because I felt horrible, number one. 2, I'm hungry again. And 3, I'm like, so do I have chips while I'm like crying my eyes out like in the toilet bowl on the toilet seat? And like, where do I start? Like, do I try again? Like, I'm clearly horrible at it. So all of these things started coming to me, and I just felt like I couldn't do it. But I think something changed that day because I could really hear how I was talking to myself. It was as if like everything just like echoed back at me. And I thought about it. I was like, oh, okay. Like, I see myself for what I really am today. So Naomi, do you want to try another session again? Like, would you like to try again?
You told that to yourself?
I asked myself that. First time, one of the very first few times I actually had a proper conversation like with myself. And so after that, I was like, okay, you know what? Let's just give it a go, but we'll take it really easy. We'll go really slow and let's just see what the teacher has to offer. And from there, it just progressed really naturally. I realized like how quickly my body adapted to the heat. Tropical gal at heart. I don't know how people do it in the cold. I'm like tropics forever.
I tried running in the cold. Like not even winter, like spring. I was freezing my butts off.
Like wheezing, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just different. Like
I can't.
People are made differently. Like,
yeah.
Already in the tropics, we're made smaller because of the heat, right? Like,
I'm not that small, but
it's like when you're in the tropics, you're perpetually in a dryer.
Yes.
You know, everything shrinks.
Yeah.
Which is why we're so small.
Yeah.
But
Asians.
but I mean, yeah. That aside, I just kept coming.
Yeah.
And I think one of the great things that I've been able to learn and I wouldn't say master. I guess you're always going to be trying to master that. Is to create good habits.
Love what you said. Exactly in your caption yesterday. Don't know if you remember you said that.
Creating good habits.
Yeah.
So I'm reading this book right now. I'll give you the name. I can't remember for the life of me the author and the name of the book. But I'm reading this book on habits.
Yeah.
While I'm trying to get into the habit of reading again, which is really ironic.
I've been trying for many years.
I see the irony. Fantastic analogies of how a person with brain damage, if we're focusing on, I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm so sorry if I pronounce it wrongly. It's the basal ganglia. It's this part of your brain that kind of kickstarts, and if I'm not wrong, all these habits that you have. So my point is, and we can cut it out if like I'm wrong, I'll give you the feedback. The point is, a person with brain damage can actually have memory loss. He or she can actually experience new things every day and completely forget about it.
Right.
Like can't even remember it. Like you're going back to the clinic another time and you're asked to recall some of the things that you did last session and
you can forget.
They won't be able to. But you can teach a person with brain damage, in particular this person, and he was special and integral to this experiment because it was important for them to understand how habits worked. And even a person with brain damage, if you take them on the same route home every day, they won't remember how they got home. But if they're out on a walk by themselves, they know how to get there. Like if you do that every day and if you create that habit for them every day, they're gonna remember. And it's the body's way of, or rather also the brain's way of trying to flip a switch. And trying to move into those good habits, even though the bad habits are there. So naturally, like you are focusing on these good habits, and that's what yoga did for me. I went consecutively, like consistently, and it was as if my body knew what to do, my brain knew what to do, and from there, because I created this good habit, I was able to take on more good habits. It's like the brain put you on this autopilot. Okay, this is a good habit. Let's put this on autopilot. And then I take in another good habit. And then when I master it, okay, it becomes another good habit that's now on default. So when you do this over time, and that's why people can be so addicted to fitness and eating healthy and make that a lifestyle, because it just comes so naturally after that. And that was life-changing for me because prior to that, I didn't know how to start a good habit. Everything that I did was done halfway. I just wanted to quit. If I didn't feel like it one day, I would just quit.
I am there right now. I bought rollerblades during circuit breaker. MCO, you asked me what's MCO. I haven't even mastered it. I've not gone in it like more than 5 times. I'm like that sometimes. There's just some habits. I feel like my attention span is just so short. It's impossible for me to create a habit out of it. But I'm really trying. So thanks for that.
And that is okay.
Yeah.
And that is okay because like another element to that is time, right? Longboarding, I did it and then I stopped. And I just couldn't kickstart that habit. And I felt, I beat myself up over it. But I realized, you know, there's some things you have to make an executive decision about, like, okay, I can afford to give up this habit.
Yeah.
I can prioritize this habit.
Yeah.
I'm going to take my time with this. Maybe I'm going to like be more religious with it. Yeah. Like, and I've learned to accept that that is okay because slowing down is something that I want to pay attention to right now. Yeah.
Let's talk about slowing down. I remember this conversation quite vividly during our very brief talk at the cafe in Singapore with Bailey and Ben was there, you know. And when you switched seats with Ben, because Ben was in between us, okay? And then we kept talking and then halfway Naomi was like, Ben, can we switch seats? He's like, why? Am I like in the way? Yes. So we switched seats. And that's how this conversation came about. And you said that you're really just learning how to slow down amidst the chaos, especially in an industry like the one we're in. It's always one thing after another, trend after trend, fashion week after fashion week, events after events, and they don't wait for you.
No, they don't.
No. And if you pause, they don't pause with you. They will keep going and you will have to catch up again. So, and that's why sometimes, for me at least, slowing down is not an easy, intentional thing for me to do. I feel like I want to slow down, but I feel like if I slow down, then how am I going to catch up? How do you slow down?
I know what it feels like going to the gym and feel completely clueless and intimidated. I was once there. That's why I started Motion Lab. We're a fitness studio that focuses on small group classes and personal training. Our goal is simple: to help you move better so you can live better. Start your first class for only 49 ringgit today. For more info, go to www.motionlab.live or check us out on IG at motionlabmy. It's motionlabmy.
I feel like when I live in Singapore sometimes, I feel like I'm an F1 racer. Like, you have control of the steering wheel.
Yeah.
Actually, this is from from me go-karting. So I really felt like I was in an F1 race. And you get like these battle scars. And then you don't realize that you have these like battle scars from the adrenaline and just like moving around and everything. Everything's whizzing by. Yeah. And then when it finally comes to a halt, you are extremely thirsty. You're sweating from head to toe. You've got all these like abrasion marks. And you just need to find your footing again.
Yeah.
So slowing down is not easy because I'm already used to that pace.
Yeah.
But I think one of the most pivotal things like that made me sit up and listen to myself was when I had COVID. I had COVID a couple of weeks ago, and I had temporary hearing loss. At that point in time, I did get hearing loss from COVID, and it was an extremely painful experience.
Yeah.
Everything was ringing in my ears. I couldn't function because the noise was so loud, and I was in so much pain, and I wondered if this was gonna last forever. That's a scary thing, right? Like,
what happens if I really lose this forever?
And medical officials or people in the medical field, you know, they have to be realistic about it. We will never know when you can get your hearing back. So I'm lucky to have gotten like most of my hearing back from the hearing loss, but it put a lot of things into perspective. I had no choice but to kind of slow down. And the first point of contact was physically. I had to stop moving around. I had to just like sit down when I can, lie down if I can, and just kind of be patient with the fact that it's going to come and go with the medication. It's all good now. I got my hearing back. But the takeaway was, okay, I see your point. I'm going to not only slow down physically, but I'm going to also take my own advice and sit myself down and ask myself, how do I want to pace? At what pace do I move forward?
Yeah.
And I think when I had that conversation with myself and I wrote down, okay, all the things that I needed to do first, and then move into what is a priority for me and how much can I take in a day, I think that really helped to set the wheels in motion. It made me realize, okay, I can actually do this. In fact, I can be even more productive by doing just a few things in a day.
Yeah.
And it's not like this, I didn't read this in an article or anything. Like people, articles and you know, things in life, they do have a way of, you know, coming back to you. And it's not the first time that I've heard that, but I was really starting to take it all in and put it into practice. So when that happened, and that happened consecutively, trying to create that good habit, it made me more motivated to try new things, to, you know, be more vulnerable with things, and to overcome that fear, especially if you're putting out content online, you know, you don't want to be hated at. Like, you want to be loved and respected for your opinion, right? And you want to be heard. And I guess that's in an ideal world. But it allowed me to be my best. And it allowed me to be okay, even if there's a negative comment. So far there hasn't. I think people have been really kind on the internet so far.
Yeah, I think people are, actually. Like, we are also creating that space for people to slow down because we are slowing down. Yeah. Otherwise, everybody's just on that same train because no one wants to slow down. Right?
Yeah, exactly that. And like what my friend and also manager will tell me, like, you know, you just have to... She say it's so important. I lost my train of thought. We'll get back to that.
Oh, it's okay. I have a question though. You are also married to Benjamin Kang.
Yes.
That guy is busy as hell. Right?
He's in Korea now.
I know, exactly. So, like, speaking of pace, I feel like the both of you also have different paces. How do you stay in sync when the both of you are so incredibly busy? Or like when you want to slow down, but he's still, you know.
Right.
Yeah. How do you find that sync?
We are still figuring that out, you know. We do have our friction points, tension points also. I think what really helps is that we are friends too.
Oh, love that.
It's really fun to like hang out with your friend. And I think one of the great things about Ben is that he's so lovable. And he just really knows how to make your day. He's so funny. Like, and I'm not saying that because I'm like his partner or his wife or anything. Like, I just genuinely think that he's so funny. And it lightens the mood.
He's super funny.
I'm very uptight person. Like, I need to have my list. I need to like clean the house.
Bullet points, text.
You know, today you didn't pass the vibe check. Please go to the sofa. Don't come and find me. You know, I'm more difficult that way. I have like my own set of rules. And then can you imagine I'm at home, right? And nobody passes the vibe check, right? And I'm just so annoyed with life. And you can see Ben and Bailey just at the opposite side of the house going, okay, mom's in a mood today. You know, my dog knows when I'm in a mood.
Really?
She stays the hell away from me.
Oh my God, I love it.
And she's the sweetest thing you met her, right? She's so quiet.
Yeah. She's really calm. She's the calmest dog I've ever seen. Like, she wanted to sit away from you. I think that was funny.
I know. But you know, I understand that. I'm like, I understand why she needed to be away from us. Maybe it's like, okay, you know, this is too overwhelming for me. Like, too many.
She knows herself so well.
Yeah.
I think that's cute.
Very observant girl. Yeah. So sometimes I feel like I have to apologize to Ben for it. But Ben is wonderful. I think he's been able to kind of ground me in a way where you can be serious, but sometimes you need to learn how to relax and like let go and have fun. And I think his gift is being able to diffuse the tension. Oh. Just with anything. Like, he's that resourceful. Like, you could just point to a cup and he'll know how to joke about it. Like, if it's me, I need to like, okay, you know, plan A, this is the joke. Like, plan B, this is the joke. Like, plan C, oh my gosh, if it doesn't work, then like, I just drink lah. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think he because of that, we're able to balance each other out.
Yeah, I love that. Can you tell us your love story if you're okay to share?
Only for you, Maggie.
Yay!
I tend to, we try and keep it as...
Okay, give us a summary.
What was your question again?
Your love story. How did you guys meet?
We met on set, actually.
Oh.
And at that point in time, we were with like different people. I was on my own, like, I was completely off tangent, like...
Right.
I think I'd gone through like a rebound situation. Even to this day, I'm also confused. Still feeling gaslighted.
We talked about it in our previous episode, situationship.
You'll never know. This is between me and Maggie. Yeah, so I was going through my own thing with like relationships, and he was also in a relationship. The interesting thing was, the first time that we worked together, we were playing husband and wife.
Sorry. Ironic.
Yeah,
right?
that weird, right?
Yeah, so weird.
Yeah, at that point in time, my manager, who's also my good friend, like, but from another agency, but she's my really good friend. She's like, "Oh my god, babe, that's Benjamin King." And then at that point, I was so like, I just didn't care, you know. I didn't care who he was. Like, I was.
Do you know who he was?
Yes.
Okay. But you didn't care that who he was. I get it.
I didn't care who he was. I was just like, you know, I'm so done with life. Like, I don't really care about who I meet. Like, I just want to be happy with my job. Like, just do my job well, and then just you know, go and have like ice cream later or something. And then my friend was like eating noodles or something, and she was always like gawking at him or something when he was doing his scenes. And I'm just going like, oh, let's just eat. So then the next time we met was actually on another set, and this was in Thailand. And we became really good friends with the other cast members and the team.
Yeah.
If you ever get the chance to go to Thailand to work with them, they are so wonderful. But anyway, it created this really nice energy and environment. And that was when I got to know him a little bit better.
Right.
Again, I wasn't looking for anything. I think he was also going through his own thing, but we were able to talk as friends. And I think that was the beauty of it. That was how we met. We met as friends first. And I don't really have... Completely platonic.
Like no chemistry, like there was no attraction at all?
I wasn't attracted to him.
Oh, sorry, Ben.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Actually, I didn't run this by him. Like, I gotta call him and be like, babe, by the way, I just like talked about our whole life story with Maggie Wang. You gotta be okay with it. Oh, he says hi, by the way.
Oh, hi, Ben.
Yeah, someone was like,
platonic, and then you went
completely
on with
platonic, just very happy. And at that point, I didn't have a lot of male friends. I think, I don't know, like, I guess just there's, you know, when it comes to friendship, maybe I didn't quite share the same values, or I just for some reason didn't have a lot of like friends of the opposite gender, just a lot of very good like female energy around me. And for him, when I first talked to him, he was very intuitive. He genuinely asked you questions about your life and wanted to kind of interact and also give into the conversation. And it was just very nice to have him as a friend. Yeah. And, you know, with him, it's just so light. And I think that was one thing that was really great about him. Yeah. And he taught me how to joke and how to, you know, be more lively and less uptight in my feelings, you know, thinking about what people will think of me. He just always knew how to enjoy the process in that way.
Yeah, I think I can tell. I mean, actually, I knew Ben for quite a while already. Like, he was actually one of the very first artist interview I did as a radio DJ.
Oh my gosh!
And I was like freaking out a little bit at the time. And they were kind of like starting out as the Sam Willows. And then my boss told me, okay, so you're going to interview this Singaporean band, group of 4, the Sam Willows, do your research. And I'm like, huh? Okay. But like, I didn't know who they were at the time. Because, you know, and then that's how I met him. That was many years ago. Yeah, many, many years ago. Yeah, I'm very happy that you guys have found each other. I think you guys make such a cute couple.
Thank you.
Yeah, and very happy that you guys are also really happy together. And of course, like now that we're talking about relationship, I think one of the most common question that I get a lot is, what makes a relationship, right? Like, what's the most important value for you? But now that you're in a marriage, I think it's even more, you're more eligible to talk about it, I feel. I love how intentional she is, you guys. Like, she really is thinking about my question.
Think, you know, people are hearing and
yeah. And I love that about
want them
you.
to take away something.
Right. That's my stress all the time too.
Actually, when I first came on the podcast, I was a bit worried. I was like, oh no, what do I have to offer?
Oh, girl, you've offered
Is Maggy
way
gonna-
more. Way more,
Is
you
Maggy
guys.
gonna go home with this interview and be like, oh my gosh, we're never having her on
We don't want to
again.
delete anything actually, but you're so good. Yeah, value in a relationship that you uphold. Well, both of you, or that
Such
you've
a
learned.
good question. I think because of who I am, I really value loyalty. Like, no matter what that looks like. Yeah, I value loyalty. And I know it can take in very different shapes and forms for people. So that's a value that I truly cherish. Because from there, you can really pour into someone and they can pour into you. And I think you have to choose your friends very wisely, to choose your tribe very wisely, and also choose your words very wisely, because then you attract what you say, what you think, and what you put out. Exactly.
I believe in that.
And I really believe in that, you know. Taylor Swift's song Karma will always be #1 on the Neo charts.
Can you sing a little? Like, which part? The chorus. Which song is this?
Karma is my boyfriend. Karma is a god. Karma is my boyfriend.
Look at my team might be all screaming.
Karma is a what on a weekend?
Karma.
Can you sing it out?
Karma is
Can
my
the
boyfriend.
mic catch that? Karma is my boyfriend. Karma is a god. Karma is a breeze in my head on a weekend. Is it?
Sounds right. I don't know.
And then when Ice Spice comes along, ooh, oh my gosh. Yeah, but you know, there's a reason why Taylor Swift wrote a song about karma. And she took a few years to get that down.
Yeah.
But that ties in with everything. Like, you know, what you put out will almost eventually come back to you. Yeah. And I don't take this lightly because it has happened.
What happened?
In instances where, you know, you have a choice, say for example, to either be very resentful and, you know, like complaining about everything and just, you know, hoping that something will come your way, as opposed to, say, working hard for something, trying to create tangible steps to get to some place. That, you see the energy, the difference in energy. If you lean into, you know, say an energy or a posture of, okay, you know what? Why do I need to do this? Like, I don't really want to do this. I'm just gonna wait and see what happens. Or, you know, I see you, I hear you, but, you know, I have my, I'm just gonna tap out or something. Not great examples, but
Oh, they're good examples, I think.
I'd like to lean into, my mom always says that the most important thing is your attitude. And I thought like, okay, she's just being like, damn naggy lah. But after a while, it's like, wow, it's true. My mom has her own business. My mom knows what it takes to continue to have jobs. And attitude was like important for her. So having the right attitude, and when I say right, it's up to you to determine what it is. But right to me looks like being able to humble yourself and say, okay, you know what? You want to get there, but you're going to have to work twice as hard as someone else. You might not be on the same level as, you know, so-and-so or A, B, and C. And that person might have a few extra steps ahead of you, but you need to know how to figure out the next extra steps. Like, you need to figure out how to get there so that one day you can be on the same podium as them, if that's what you really want. And if you want it so badly, don't expect things to fall in your lap. Don't expect people to come to you and ask you, you know, and ask to be given this opportunity. And if you have to lie and wait, if you have to wait for something, then you better wait.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you can wrestle with impatience and you can wrestle with all these other things and you can throw a tantrum. But if you know the value of waiting and why you're waiting, then that's so much more important. Like the lesson of that lesson is more important than actually getting there.
Yeah.
And I have to take my own advice sometimes as well, because when you're in it, I understand it can be extremely difficult.
Yeah.
The climb is hard.
It's really, really hard. Miley Cyrus song, The Climb.
You want to sing that, is it?
No, I don't want to sing. Okay, Naomi, I had such a great conversation. I mean, we're not going to end. We're going to go hang out after this.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for you guys. This is about the end. So what's going to happen after this is actually I have a whole day with her. I'm going to bring her out.
Yay!
I've got a whole plan, but she already went to the place I wanted to bring her after this, which was Village Park Nasi Lemak. Wait, was it good though?
Oh my gosh.
No, honestly, was it good? Malaysian Nasi Lemak.
You know, when I heard that I was coming back to KL, I was like, wow, I'm so excited. I love the food. Like,
Thank you. Malaysian food or Singaporean food?
And you know, you are so warm and...
She skipped my question.
Do you know... What? Sorry? You were saying?
No, it's funny.
I can still smell the nasi lemak.
It's good, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking about the nasi lemak. Sorry, what was your question?
No, my question was Malaysian nasi lemak better?
Malaysian nasi lemak.
Thank you. You know why I say that? Because I feel like Singaporean nasi lemak is a little bit different.
Yes,
you have the
we are a bit
luncheon meat and the sambal is drier.
Actually, our idea of like even down to the rice,
Yeah.
like our idea of fragrant is very different,
right? Yeah, and I never knew. You know, I thought nasi lemak is quite universal. I thought it's a universal dish, but it is made very differently in different countries. So yeah, I'm glad you loved our nasi lemak.
you
Not
get
a
your
competition, you guys. I'm just asking for fun.
Yeah, you get your options.
Yes. Okay. So this is also something that we ask all of our guests before we wrap up. 3 simple questions.
Okay.
You can answer it with one or a couple of words or a short sentence, okay? The first one is, what are you currently head over heels for?
Jialat. What am I head over heels for?
Oh, I know.
The Village Park nasi lemak lor.
Thank you. I knew she was going to say that. I knew it. Okay. Is that your final answer?
Lock it in.
Lock and load it. Next question. What's the best or worst advice you've ever received?
Worst advice that I've ever gotten. It actually came from a good place.
Yeah.
I just want to say that first.
Yeah.
It came from a good place, but it might not necessarily have been good for me.
Yeah.
And I know that now, but I didn't know back then. So that I would say that was probably the worst advice, because I still took it anyway and tried to like make it work. You have to focus on one thing. I partially agree on it. Like you should focus on one thing and get really good at it. But in this day and age, I realized, and especially when it came to work, when it came time to figure out how I was going to navigate myself financially, I couldn't just have one job. And I'm talking specifically about work here. I wanted to be an actress, but I also realized that I needed to supplement my income, especially if I wanted to work on good scripts. And good scripts don't come by often. So I'm going to be really honest with that. So I worked in radio. That's how I even got into voiceovers in the first place. Other than the whole idea of, you know, being young and exploring your options and just knowing what you're good at and what you're not, it was to also supplement myself financially. And whether you're good or bad, you still have to make ends meet.
For sure.
So telling me to focus on one thing and trying to be good at it, sometimes it really just isn't enough. Because I needed some security, I needed some stability. I wasn't going to take money from my parents. And I really made the decision not to go to university. So it's just one of those things where, what do you do as an adult to make it work for yourself? You have to learn along the way. You have to figure out what's best for you. And I know now that was probably not the advice I should have taken, because I wrestled with it for a long time. I never felt like I was good enough. That's why I didn't get hired enough. Like, that's why I wasn't financially stable, because I focused on one thing. And I had to be honest with myself for that. But all things considered, I've seen people thriving, you know, just focusing on one thing.
Yeah.
And that's their destiny.
For sure.
So I don't fight that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think really it's just finding what is for you. I think in our line of work, you can't just be one thing.
For sure.
I think, yeah, that's a good one. Okay. People find it hard.
Do I need best advice?
No need, I feel like you gave that earlier, you know, what your mom said. Your attitude is very important. It's all about your attitude. What did your mom say?
Oh yeah, she says attitude is important.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good one. I thought you answered that already. Okay, one last one. I don't know why most of my guests find it hard to answer this one, but it's the simplest one, right? Like they will pause for a long time. What? 3 words or sentences to describe your life right now.
Oh my God. You know when clients put me in a voiceover booth and they want me to record like a 6-second liner, the 6-second liner is very often the harder one to do than the 15-second.
I agree.
Sorry.
I agree. I give you option words
three
or
words.
sentences.
Okay. To describe?
Describe your life right now, like happy and love. And just
Let me go to my Clue app.
You want your phone?
My life right now. Let me put it into words then.
Yeah.
Exploration, mastery, growth.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I love that. I think it is so you. I think you guys, I hope you had a good time listening to this episode. There's just so many takeaways from this. I need to sit down and actually re-listen to it because I think it was so wholesome. Naomi, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Maggie.
I had such a good time. I'm very excited for our outing. I just want to end this episode so we can go eat.
Oh, she said it, not me.
But before I end this, is there anything you want to share? Anything that I missed out, I didn't manage to ask, but you knew you wanted to share when you come on here?
I want to thank my family, my friends. Like, I also want to thank my manager for giving this opportunity. Like, most importantly, I think Maggie lah. Maggie is the star.
But you are the star.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I think I will go home with not just one moment, but many moments.
We'll create more moments after this. But yeah, that's it, right? We're locking that one.
Oh my God, really? I was joking.
I know you're joking.
No, I don't. I think like it was such a great conversation.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And if you guys, I'm pretty sure by now you've fallen in love with her and her personality. Go follow her journey. And till next time, you guys. And like I always say, every episode I end it with, don't forget to follow head over heels for yourself first and always until the next episode. Bye-bye.
I know what it feels like going to the gym and feel completely clueless and intimidated. I was once there. That's why I started Motion Lab. We're a fitness studio that focuses on small group classes and personal training. Our goal is simple, to help you move better so you can live better. Start your first class for only 49 ringgit today. For more info, go to www.motionlab.live or check us out on IG at motionlabmy. It's motionlabmy.